Welcome. Now we'll talk about angle bisectors. Angle bisectors are segments that are going to cut angles into two congruent pieces. Okay. So as I'm looking at this with my patty paper, the first thing I'm going to do this, I'm going to pick a vertex. Okay. I'm going to take my angle that I have right here and I want to bisect it. In order to do that, I'm going to take on my vertex and I'm going to fold on my vertex. Those two consecutive sides that make up the vertex should be on top of each other. Go ahead and crease my paper right there. So I've got my vertex and the two sides that are consecutive, the two sides that are creating that angle are laying on top of each other. So when I unfold my paper here, should go right through the middle of that angle. And that is all I need to do to create an angle bisector. Now to mark it as congruent, I'm going to put an arc right here. I'm just going to put one little tick mark to show that those two angles are congruent to each other. So again, flipping page here, going to talk about this vertex. When I fold to make it a bisector, I've got to keep the vertex on my thumb, and then I'm going to line up the other two sides of the triangle. I'm going to crease it right there. When I unfold, going to go through that vertex on the crease, and I know that those two angles have been bisected. Mark them congruent by putting two little tick marks on there to show congruence. Let's go ahead and do the third one. My suggestion is you pause the video and try this one yourself. As we're doing this one, again, we want to go through the angle, so I'm going to put the vertex on my finger. I'm going to take and I'm going to line up the opposite sides that make up my angle on top of each other. So when I crease it, my two lines are laying on top of each other. Unfold my paper and draw my angle bisector. And again, we mark that as an angle bisector by showing congruence in those two angles. So that is how to create an angle bisector. So one more time for you, just look at it from an obtuse triangle point of view. Got an obtuse angle here. Still going to hold the vertex with my thumb. Still going to line up the opposite side and crease my paper. Notice the vertex is right here. The opposite side is lined up. Or excuse me, not the opposite side. The two consecutive sides are lined up that create that angle. I'm going to go ahead and draw my angle bisector. Mark those two as congruent. And I can pick a different angle to fold. Vertex getting split. Opposite sides lined up on top of each other. Consecutive sides, excuse me. Keep saying that to you guys wrong. Consecutive sides lined up on top of each other. Going to crease my paper. When I unfold it, I should have an angle bisector. Mark those two pieces as congruent. And we've got one angle to go. Going to look at my vertex. Going to fold my paper in half. Holding my vertex with my left thumb here. I'm going to make sure that the consecutive sides are lined up. I'm going to go ahead and crease my paper. Unfold it. I've got my third angle bisector ready to draw. Again, as we've talked about other times, this right here would be called my point of concurrency, which each point of concurrency is different for each set of segments we're drawing, and something we will get into more detail with later. Appreciate you watching. This has been Angle Bisectors, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.